Hey, everybody. We never plan for retirement the way that they say you should. I wanted to address this today and give you some background in how we think about retirement. We never had a number, we never had a timeline, we've never had stock market investments. We never thought of retirement that way because how could we? We always thought, well, how could you possibly plan for retirement? Because we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's coming down the road. How could we plan for something for 20, 30 years when we wouldn't have any clue as to how that's going to pan out? So we were always living our lives by investing in ourselves and thinking that if we invested in ourselves, in our futures, in the skills that we needed, that that would all work out in the future. And that's the way we have approached retirement. And believe me, I know that this is not the way people look at retirement planning. I know this is not the way that most people think about it. Everywhere you look, there's a plan. And everywhere you look, there are people telling you how much money you need, how far behind you are, what you need to do to catch up, and on and on and on. But that's just not the approach that we have ever taken. You see the charts, the calculators, the timelines, and you're supposed to work, save, wait, and then someday you'll start living your life. And that's just not the way that we have approached our lives. We have not lived that way. Over the years, we have listened to people talk about their futures, what they were planning for in the future. And they were actually, putting off the life that they could be living for some future. And we've just not looked at it that way. And I also know that people can be stigmatized for thinking differently because if somebody wants to take their Social Security benefits at 62, somebody is going to stigmatize them for doing that and tell them they're wrong. And people don't like to feel wrong or embarrassed or that they made a bad decision. Another one is that people can't work when they're retired, that they can't work part-time because they're not really retired. And that's another one where people feel like they're doing something wrong, that they're not doing it the way that you're supposed to. And I was in a ladies group and we were having breakfast one morning, and I said that David and I were going to claim our Social Security benefits at 62. And they all looked at me like I was really crazy, like I was just so ill-informed that we would be making such a terrible mistake by doing that we should wait to take those benefits, that we should wait until full retirement age, that we would be forfeiting money, that we just wouldn't be getting as much money as we would if we waited. And the point of this is that by taking our benefits early, that was one of the ways that we invested in ourselves because we took that money and we put it to good use. At that time, we put it to good use. We didn't put off taking those benefits just to get a larger monthly check. We've had hundreds of thousands of dollars in benefits up to this point, and we're really happy that we made that decision to take our benefits at 62. And another thing that is part of our experience is working part-time. David worked part-time after he took his benefits. He stayed within the earnings limit, and when he didn't, that was something that we addressed with the Social Security Administration, and it all worked out okay. I mean, they did withhold benefits, and then they, restarted benefits after that overage was fulfilled. So there is a stigma to doing things differently in retirement, not going according to what everybody's told to do. But we made decisions along the way that were right for us, not what it was right for somebody else, not what was going to be right for some far off future. We were making these decisions based on what was right for us at that time and moving forward and continuing to evolve in retirement. And if we had not made the decisions that we had made and stayed back with business and not moved when we moved, we would not have experienced all the adventure that we have had up to this point and continue to have on a daily basis. We were choosing a different way to live. And that's just the way that we look at it. We weren't choosing to wait and have some life in a far off future. So when people ask us, how did you plan for retirement? The answer is we didn't. We didn't plan for retirement that way. And I'm really glad that we didn't. And we don't think you have to follow a plan, especially one that wasn't your plan in the first place, one that really wasn't something that you mapped out for yourself. And maybe that's the message that most people don't really want to talk about.